DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
And welcome inside DETV Sports. It's another Monday, so the gang is back together. Nick Alessandrini, joined as always by Jason McCall and Matthew Maurer. Dennis Pritchard, of course, behind the glass for us once again on a Monday evening, and this is all presented by DART. So we are happy to be back here, guys, on a Monday. A lot has happened in the weekend, so a lot to recap. We're going to talk about all the playoff series. We'll give you an update on all four of them, and then we'll finish off today. It's going to be a lot of NBA talk with the reactions to the all-rookie teams that came out just a few hours ago. So a lot went on last night. We had a little Jokic on Suns owner action we'll get into here in a little bit. But, of course, we're going to start with the 76ers and the Celtics. But before we dive into what we saw yesterday, Jason, it was Friday night when the Celtics picked up that Game 3 win. And then that took us into Sunday when the Sixers were able to even it up, guys, now at 2-2. So that could go either way. We're going back to Boston tomorrow night. Jason, let's start with you here. How you feeling about your Boston Celtics? A James Harden 3, well, the floater in regulation, then the 3 in overtime with the help defense from Jaylen Brown, a good kick out from Embiid, and the Sixers able to pull it out. How do you feel right now about the Celtics in a 2-2 series?
I still feel very confident about the Celtics in a 2-2 series. Not just being like a fan, but just from a pure basketball standpoint. They're like minor fixes that need to be done, but those minor fixes have caused major implications with now the series being tied 2-2. Mainly switching the big man in the pick and roll, guarding Harden at the top of the key. You can't keep doing that, because hit the winner and hit the game shot in game 1 like that, and then you have, even with the floater to go to overtime, that was a switch with Horford out top, and then you have the double in the three-pointer when Jaylen Brown shouldn't have. He hedged too far and gave Harden
a closeout
wide.
too.
It was a great closeout, but still, I'd rather you let Embiid get the 2, because it's still a tie game. You give an open 3, game winner. Yes. But I would say I'm still very confident. If I'm being technical about it, if you think about the 2 miscues in game 1 and game 4, this is a sweep. But now it's 2-2. So I still have Celtics in 6.
Celtics in 6.
They'll be fine.
Matt, what do you think about your reaction from yesterday's game? Sixers able to pull that one out late. Harden went for 45 in game 1. He goes for 42 here in game 2. 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and then 4 steals. Saw that big-time block. Showed a little action on the defensive end as well yesterday for James Harden. Embiid still gave him, 34, 13, and 4. Maybe not as pretty as it looks on there. Maxey 14. What stood out to you yesterday about the Sixers and the Celtics?
I mean, obviously it's Harden. I mean, Jason kind of spoke this into existence when he talked about he was going to have that signature game. Well, right now it looks like he's going to have a signature series, because it's like he's back in Houston again. He's back to, shooting with confidence. He looks like he has the green light every time he touches the ball. I'm still surprised Maxey, well, I can't say I'm too surprised. If you watched them all year long, they've always had a problem with Maxey incorporating the offense efficiently when Harden's on the floor. I think the biggest issue for the Celtics, honestly, is it still looks like they don't really know what they're doing at times on offense. I think there's a little issue with Harden. Not Harden, but Brown and Tatum. Tatum takes some really crazy shots at times, and I know he's trying to get himself going, but some of them step back threes, baby. It ain't going.
I'll say this, just to piggyback on that. With Tatum, I was watching the game with one of my good friends, good basketball minds last night as well. Shout out my guy Queen. But no, it's Tatum's movement. His body is like real rigid in his movements, and he's been this way. Mm-hmm. So it's like when you see him through the offense, it's like it doesn't always flow properly. Like, he gets his numbers, he's a great player, but it's his movement and his body language at times on the court. Like on offense, you can see it. It's like it doesn't flow properly. Like Jaylen Brown, exact opposite. He's smooth all the way through. Like, you can see the play happening. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the ball gets stuck in Tatum's hands a bit, and he has to try to go 1-on-5 when you have other players around. So that happened a few times in the fourth quarter and overtime. And he had a horrible first half.
Did.
But
missed his first 8
I
or 9
knew
shots.
that I knew he would get hot in the second half because I'm like, if the Celtics get close, it's going to be because he wakes up, and that's what happened. But I think it's more so the fact that I don't think it's really a Tatum and Brown issue. I think it's a Marcus Smart issue being on the court with them. I think that when you have a pure point guard in Brogdon than Smart on the court, the offense looks better, but you give a little bit on defense, and that's the limit that they're gonna have to figure out in the next game or two.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's always been Tatum's Achilles heel, though, is that he looks like, shout out to my man Drew Hanlon, no shot at you, but that's Tatum's trainer.
He was working out with Embiid for a long time.
Yeah, he just looks like at times he's going through drills, and you literally see, it's like, oh, he's doing drill work out there. He doesn't realize that this is a game. Like, you see him going 1, 2, 3, switch. You know, it's like, bro, like, come on, you got to get in the game a little bit, see the floor. And I think Tatum's still learning how to get other guys involved in the offense.
He is.
Yeah. So look, I'm not going to say that he can't learn from this. He's young. He's still got a lot more growth to do. But I think that's right now some of his limitations is he still struggles to get guys moving on
In
offense.
spots, yeah. In good spots.
And obviously Tatum is their superstar, right? There's no arguing there. He was early on this season one of the front runners for MVP. You know, obviously was the main catalyst in getting them back to the finals last year. But to me, at least, and I wonder how you guys feel about this, I think Jaylen Brown has been their best player in this series so far now. Do you guys agree with that, offensively and defensively?
He's been the best player in all playoffs.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, if you look at the first two series,
I agree. I'm with
it's
you.
been, I mean, they're a 1-2 punch for sure, but Jaylen Brown has passed the eye test more than Tatum has this go around, but it happened last year too in the finals.
And again, interesting part, you remember Jaylen Brown last year in that playoff run, I don't know how many, but he was turnover prone. I mean, every time he was getting to the point where he put the ball on the floor, and you know, if you were a Celtic fan, you were getting a little bit nervous. Exactly, and that's what kind of cost them down the stretch.
Yeah.
But I think he's done a way better job this year turnover-wise, and I think he's been fantastic. But Matt, let's focus on the Sixers here just for a few minutes before we move on. Harden, again, we talked about it. Jason, you called that key game from him. It's his aggressiveness, right? Kind of looked lost out there in game 2 and 3, 5 of 28 from the floor in those two games. And then here he is with 42 in this game. So when he's aggressive, they're 2-0. And you heard a little talk yesterday, or even nationally today. Does Harden have to be the main scorer, the go-to guy for the Sixers to win these games? Or how did you feel about Embiid's play down the stretch yesterday? Struggled in the fourth quarter. Obviously, the conditioning is still getting there after missing, you know, those couple weeks with that knee sprain. He's got that big brace on. But he was really bad down the stretch of this game in overtime. 2 points, 1 rebound, 1 of 6 shooting in the final 9 minutes. And then and if you count overtime, just add another rebound to that stat line. So nothing improved for him there. Wasn't really to be found. You saw P.J. Tucker, that big. That's going to go down, you know, depending how the series goes. Maybe has a big moment in that series. P.J. Tucker yelling at Embiid, trying to get him back fired up. What did you think about that Sixers duo, Harden and Embiid, and what did you think of what you saw from Embiid down the stretch?
I mean, obviously, to your point, Embiid's conditioning still is playing a part in this, and his recovery from that injury still a big part. I do think Harden is going to have to put on that hard hat and be option one. I think Embiid, honestly, is so gifted that he doesn't need to be option one and still get 30 points. I think the key for the Sixers is getting consistent work from somebody to be that third option.
I agree.
That's the hard part for them right now.
And then yesterday, and Jason, like, the same thing. No Maxey and Tobias. Talk about milk carton. That was kind of them yesterday. Maxey had a few big shots early in that first half, but Tobias nowhere to be found. Maxey nowhere to be found. What are your thoughts there?
But this has been the Achilles heel of the Sixers the past 3 or 4 seasons. It's always been who will be the third guy, whoever has been on the team. Who's going to be the third guy? And it's bringing this ugly head again. It's just that you have Harden, who's conditioning, super conditioning, who is finally conditioned, you know, in the playoffs and things, and just his body, you know, back to a
47
decent,
minutes yesterday for James Harden. 47.
Decent, you know, thing for him. But again, the word conditioning, this should not be a word that we're bringing up in the second round of the playoffs still. With NBA players, especially an MVP.
That's every year, right?
It's every year.
Every year. Achilles heel. We talked about Tatum's Achilles heel. I think that's Joel.
It's the C word every single playoff.
That's a fact.
Like, but to talk about Sixers a little bit more, they're making this series very difficult. We all talked about it before, that this series is going to go at least 6 or 7 regardless. So it's staying on course for that. But you're seeing the fact that Doc Rivers is a more seasoned coach than Coach Missoula, and you're seeing that in the decision making in late game situations because Celtics had a timeout they could have taken in the fourth quarter or in overtime, didn't take them either, and that kind of led towards the outcome being what it was. But the Sixers are still 0.1 of a second away from losing. If the ball goes out of Smart's hands 0.10 or a second earlier, it's a 3-1 series. So you can't really say anybody's doing something too drastically bad. It's that there's two great teams going at it. I mean, it's a 2 and a 3 seed, so you're getting what you get.
Which leads me to my mid player of the
That's
week.
right, here we go. Matt's mid-performance.
Tobias Harris, a.k.a. J. Cole.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, bro. I don't get it. I've struggled with him his whole career. He's frustrating. One game he'll get you 30. Next game, he's on a milk carton, and you don't even know he's in the game. It's for $80 million. You expect a little bit more from
Didn't
him.
even make our stat sheet on paper today. Give you his stats here: 9 points, 3 of 10 shooting, 1 of 5 beyond the arc. Did haul in 7 rebounds, 4 fouls, 2 turnovers. So yeah, there it is. I think that's a good Matt's mid-performance of the weekend.
Very mid.
And you know what?
Might even be Reggie at this point.
And you know what makes it even worse and could really make it or take it to that level was that his dad was sitting courtside yesterday, right? They kept putting him on the screen. Hey, Tobias' dad is in
Dad was eating
in
popcorn
attendance.
like this.
Yeah. And I mean,
my son.
they kept showing him. He didn't look like he was happy. He thought maybe he would have stepped up with his dad sitting courtside. But the Sixers got the win, so that's more important there. But it's going to be a great series, as we all predicted.
Game 6 back here on Thursday.
That's right. And then tomorrow night's going to be a big one. Again, I believe whoever wins Game 5 wins the series, 75% of the time, something along those lines. So we could have a couple big Game 5s coming up, and that'll take us into our next matchup. The Suns and the Nuggets yesterday in Game 4. The Suns took Game 3 over the weekend as well, behind fantastic performances, one of the best performances so far in the playoffs through at least the last 9 games for Devin Booker. He's been unbelievable. KD probably had his best game as a Sun yesterday, arguably, and they get the big win at home to even things up at 2. They take this one 129 to 124. How about this one, guys? Booker and KD scored or assisted on 101 points out of their 129, and Jokic and Murray assisted or scored on 102 points out of their 124. So, I mean, basically, you got some 2-on-2 action here. You got Murray and Jokic basically going up against Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. But the big news last night, guys, and Jason, was Landry Shamet. They needed that other guy to step up. Booker and KD almost were able to do it themselves these last couple of games, but they get that much-needed bench performance from Shamet. He gives them 19. They had 45 points through the first 3 games of the series from the bench. They get 40 last night. And again, big part of it was Shamet, the former 76er.
Look at that, another Sixer still shining somewhere else. Would you imagine that? No. This is what Shamet. See, we're gonna put some respect on Landry Shamet's name for a little bit. He's been doing this. This is not anything new. It's like he's that guy that's good but not good enough to stay on the team, but he gets traded around, but he makes a mark everywhere he goes. I mean, from Clippers, Sixers, Nets. I mean, he's been.
Well, he can get the minutes. He struggled
he's been everywhere.
I mean, like Jimmy Jackson back in the day.
He is the modern day Jimmy Jackson. Yes, he is. That's a great comparison. But no, he was great in this game. But we talk about Booker and KD's 72 points, but they still left 10 turnovers on the table. So this game really should have been a blowout if we're going to add those 10 turnovers, 5 apiece by both of them. But I'm looking at this series and I'm seeing Joker versus everybody else, because he had 53 last night and they still lost.
That was the headline. I didn't even mention that when going through the headline coming into the game. That didn't even touch my little intro there. Yeah. That's how good Booker and KD were.
Yeah, it's the Joker and everybody else. It's kind of like how we talk about Tobias Harris for the Sixers. Where the hell is Aaron Gordon right now?
He's good at home, right?
In this series, where is he right now? Because he should be that third guy, and he hasn't been consistently enough. This is why the series is tied at 2.
Mm-hmm. And to your point, I think you can say the same thing about MJP.
Well, he doesn't get enough time to really do anything. In my opinion, I think he gets enough minutes to get a spurt or two, but he doesn't get enough consistent minutes to actually stay in the game, make an impact. And when you look at their offense, Plays aren't ran for him either.
No.
In the offense. Imagine if he had 4 or 5 set plays called for him every night. It would be a different story.
Well, I think that should be the case. I mean, if they're going to win and look good, in my opinion, Matt, I think Michael Porter Jr. has to be a big part of that. 41 minutes in that loss last night, just 11 points.
Yep.
36 minutes the game before, he had 21 points. A little inconsistent there. He struggled in the first couple of games at home, too. He thought he had a better performance, combined for 16 in those first 2 games at home. Had a good first round in that opening series. What do you think's got to be the case for the Nuggets to come back here or to respond from losing these last 2, or what stood out to you from yesterday?
Yeah, I think this is why the Suns wanted to make this trade. I mean, they knew it was going to be impossible. Last year, they kind of got their hand caught in the cookie jar, surprised when Devin Booker was getting double teamed. It's a lot harder to double team him now when you got that guy out there from BG County. You know what I mean?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. Who I think, and look, this might be a hot take for some, but I think he's probably one of the most efficient scorers I've seen ever. Yeah. He's completely unbothered, 7 foot, can do pretty much whatever he wants to do out there, and it doesn't matter the defense. He's pretty much unbothered. That's why they got him, and that's what he's bringing. I think Denver, if they want to get this series back in their favor, they're just like the Sixers. They're going to have to get somebody consistently on that third scoring option to get them some points. Aaron Gordon, milk carton, MGP, milk carton, and really at the end of the day, it is Joker and it's Murray. If it's not those two, who knows where else they're going to get the production from.
And that's kind of funny, like we just talked about. It's basically a 2-on-2 series when you look at it, right?
You're from Uncle Jeff.
Uncle Jeff, man, he's turning
Uncle
back
Jeff,
the clock.
Jeff Green,
He's had a
Uncle
great
Jeff.
season for Uncle Jeff terms,
Uncle Jeff, man.
And again, and maybe I'm just trying to stretch this out a little bit, but again, we had a chance to chat with Bones earlier this year. He's no longer a Denver Nugget. Could he have been maybe a help off the bench? Maybe I'm stretching it a little bit, but they're missing him right now.
From the point guard position, of course. It's not even.
And they tried to get Braun in there last night. Did not look good. Only had a few minutes. They took him out rather quickly. He played 8 minutes, picked up a few rebounds, but didn't even get a shot off.
He wasn't a great
in the game. Yeah,
though.
just 1 point.
You beat me to it. That was a very, very
that was
suspect pick. Yeah.
So again, maybe they could be missing that busy offensive skill set and energy off the bench.
It's just his energy alone is missing. That's in this series. It's missing.
And I think if he just would have got the minutes consistently with the Clippers, too, when he came in there, again, defense is a little bit of a different story, but offense, he can really get going. I thought he really, and we'll look for him to obviously have a big impact next year with the Clippers going forward. But let's talk a little bit more about Booker and KD, because what they've been doing, what Booker's been doing, kind of in particular, has been one of the biggest runs he's shooting-wise in playoff history. Look at some of these stats. Booker's missed just 9 shots combined in the last 2 games. He's had 47 and 37. And also, since Chris Paul's been out, he had 20 assists in those 2 games. So he's kind of taken over that point guard role, which when Chris Paul went out, a lot of people thought like he wasn't having as big of an impact maybe as you would have thought or have had in years past. But now he's gone. You're thinking, who's going to run the show? Well, point guard Devin Booker can score. He can pass. I mean, he's been doing it all. 158 points for KD and Booker at home in the last 2 playoff wins, the most by a duo in 2 straight playoff games in NBA history. So, and the percentages are what's crazy. I don't have a lot of them on here, but Devin Booker shooting over 60% with these numbers. I've never seen anything like it.
This is something was like 72%, something crazy like that.
I mean, it's insane. Again, he's not getting the volume up from beyond the arc, but he's still hitting some of those 3 balls. I don't know if I've ever seen a shooting performance like this down this stretch.
The Suns have 2 mid-range assassins. Like, the mid-range.
You could argue the best in the league.
The mid-range is not a lost
2
art.
of the top.
It's not a lost art because you see it coming back on a lot of players' games. I mean, Jaylen Brown's better when he's in the mid-range. He can shoot threes, but he's better mid-range than anything. And you see a lot of players starting to go back to the mid-range because threes in volume, yeah, but if you can consistently hit a 17, 19-footer every game, that's an easy 10 points, all 5 shots. And they've realized that if you get the pull-up or get the hezzy or get the step back, even the 2, you're going to get probably 8 out of those 10 shots to go in. So that's what I see with them. It's just pure shooting at its finest right now. It's like looking at 2016 or 2017, 2015 Warriors.
And that's it.
I mean, because from a shooting aspect.
Yeah.
But we do have to address the elephant in the room with the Suns. What are they going to do with Ayton still?
show yesterday.
Because he's there physically. But has he checked out again? Or what's going on with him? I'm trying to.
No, he definitely checked out. I mean, he's been pouting on offense. You know, you can see his body language. He's been pissy the whole series. And I mean, look, if you would have asked me last year, is losing Chris Paul a detriment to the Suns? I'd say absolutely. But let's be honest, Chris Paul's played more like Cliff Paul. So, I mean,
talking about milk car.
Not the same kind of production that we're used from seeing. And look, that's Father Time. I get it. But when they have Cameron Payne in there, they're a little bit more fast.
And so, that's it.
I think less deliberate on offense. They don't kill the clock as much, so they get more possession. So I think Cam kind of pushes that tempo a little bit better for them in this era.
And that's kind of been the key.
Should they have picked up a player like Boogie at the deadline, just as a backup big?
Oh, I think so.
Because you're seeing that now, like
Jock Landale. I mean, again, he's no Boogie, but he's been giving them good minutes. I think he's a plus 28 in the series.
You guys say it like this. You guys say Jacques.
Jock Landale. That's St. Mary's, Australia. He's Australian native. But that's kind of the point. Is if you were to ask anybody on the street right now, here anyway, do you know who Jock Landale is? They would say who?
Yeah.
They wouldn't think he was a basketball player, but he's giving them good minutes. But that's the lack of depth in Phoenix. And
but when you gave away everything in the trade,
exactly,
you kind of expected this.
Everything.
And then you have, again...
Terrence Ross gave him some good minutes, too.
I mean,
it's
Terrence Ross, man. It's Terrence Ross.
Couldn't get off the bench. Monty finally going down the bench. Shaman them hadn't been getting a lot of minutes, so he went down the bench, got those guys.
There are a lot
the
of
last
players who should be playing and don't get off the bench in this league. And he's one of them.
And that's the thing, though. They decided the last 2 games at home, they brought those shooters in. They were going a lot of shooters on the floor. They spread it out with Shamet, Ross, and those guys hit some big shots for them. We'll see if they can keep that rolling going.
And one more issue that the Phoenix has to conquer on this next go-around of games is the air quality in Denver.
The altitude,
that altitude is different. Hopefully they can keep that adjustment going, but that's going to be the biggest thing for them. They definitely look faster in Phoenix than they did when they were in Denver.
And again, just quickly before without Chris Paul, they've really picked up the pace, and it seemed to work at home. They were, like as Matt alluded to, a lot faster. I think they scored, if you were to look at it yesterday in Next Gen Stats, it was 128 points per 100 possessions. That would be by far the best offense in the league. So they are playing at a human level of offense right now. We'll see if they can keep that up. They got to go back on the road now to Denver in that altitude. We'll see if they can keep up one of the best shooting playoff performances from a duo we've ever seen. Guy, any changes in the picks? I know me and you had Denver in 7. Matt's been with Phoenix in 7. How you feeling now? Do you think the Suns, or you can stick with your Nuggets pick?
I need to see what Game 5 looks like, because but honestly, I'm seeing the usual Denver choke starting to happen. And Matt, as you know, we've seen a lot of Denver teams in our time.
That's a fact.
This has been a thing. This has been a thing since Alex English. So let's just be honest about it.
That's a fact.
This has been a thing for a while. So it's starting to happen again. I can't say just yet, but it's starting to happen. And I'm
sticking with the Suns, I'm assuming, Matt?
Of course.
Absolutely. I'm going to stick with Denver in 7. We'll see. Big Game 5 coming up here tomorrow night. It's going to tell a lot. Before we move on quickly, though, we can't go on without talking about it. Matt Ishbia and the Jokic little conflict there in the corner. You guys saw it, I'm assuming, obviously. Just initial reactions there, if any. No suspension for Jokic, $25,000 fine that was issued a few hours ago. You guys agree with that, or what do you think of it? Just initial reaction.
I'm a hater, so I'm going to say no. Should have been suspended.
No, I agree. No, he should have been. But again, if we look at the trend of the stars not being suspended this playoffs for doing different things, like Embiid should have been suspended for kicking Claxton, and all other things like that. So the NBA they're protecting their stars in the playoffs. So I'm not surprised.
So if Draymond Green did this,
but Draymond Green he
might not be allowed back. He might take his.
But the problem with Draymond Green is he has that radar on him.
It's a history,
so
right?
It's history.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yes, I do think.
He was holding the ball.
And Draymond, you a little mid. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Maybe he could be a nominee for mid-performance of the week. You better be on your game,
He's
Draymond.
the engine of that team.
He's a triple single. I give him that. He's a triple single. Much love to the triple single.
Can we talk a little bit? We're going to talk about it here. I don't know if we have it next. We got the Knicks next. We'll talk about the JaMychal Green starting lineup. Haven't seen him all year. He makes that starting lineup game.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
Let's get this Knicks right here. I want to talk about this.
So again, we talked about next. Let's move on to the Knicks and the Heat. So this one on paper coming in, the Heat in the play-in tournament. Almost season ended against Chicago down the stretch there in the play-in. They get that win. They come in. They get the first round win over Milwaukee as huge underdogs. And now Jimmy's got them up against the Knicks here as they head into Game 4 tonight, 2-1. Another blowout victory in the return for Jimmy Butler. So he takes the game off, comes back, looks very good as always. Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle nowhere to be found in that game. They struggled, still can't shoot from beyond the arc. The shooting's been killer for the Knicks so far in this series. But Miami's looked really good here, guys. Do the Knicks have a chance to even things up tonight? Do they have a chance to win the series? Where are you on this?
No. And no, both questions.
And let me lead you right into this one, Jason. Tonight, Game 4, they usually, we've seen the teams even up. Sixers even it up at home yesterday. We saw the Suns even it up at home yesterday. Obviously, the Knicks are on the road, but a chance to even up things at 2-2. But where are they, Jason?
The city of Miami is undefeated. It is undefeated. It's undefeated, and it's going to be undefeated again.
Now, is it a little different in the playoff series? Now they've been there for a few days. They can't acclimate to the lifestyle that quickly.
They just had the Grand Prix on this weekend.
Man, you're right. That's right. Oh, man, I forgot all about that.
Grand Prix
man, what are they giving 4.5? We got to get over to Delaware Park before that game.
Listen, it's undefeated. You had all the stars, had LL Cool J, and everybody in Miami is speaking for the Grand Prix. Shout out to the mayor, Uncle Luke.
There you go.
Out there. No, it's no way. But even from a pure basketball standpoint, when you give role players confidence, you're going to lose. And they gave the role players confidence for the Heat in New York, and they carried it over back home. Now they're home in front of their own fans. You're giving people like Strus and Vincent confidence. Come on.
I'm telling you, man.
And even the old Kyle Lowry been showing flashes again, like he's 10 years younger, So
he looks like Raptors, Kyle.
Yeah, he looks like.
Give me stretches of it. Give me stretches.
Give you stretches. Other times he's like Grizzlies Kyle Lowry. That's another story. But but no. Yeah. This is my hot take for the evening. We're gonna go to the game after this, but I think we're gonna have our both series tonight will end up 3-1.
So opposite of what we saw yesterday. I'm excited as hell to get to the next game between the Warriors and Lakers. That's going to be a fun one tonight. Matt, where are you, though, with the Knicks and the Heat? Miami 4.5-point favorites tonight. The favorites to go up 3-1 in this series over New York. Do the Knicks have a chance tonight and in the series?
No, I don't like the Knicks. I don't like their game. I don't like their team setup.
Not even tonight. They can't get through. It's not even tonight. I mean, I'm with you. I think Heat win the series, and I think the Heat win maybe tonight. I'm going with the Heat as well tonight. You think you like?
Yeah, I'm going to Heat tonight.
In the series, all of us across the board.
And I think the biggest culprit is the Knicks have been kind of cheating a little bit because they've been having production from RJ the Gun Barrett.
So even the losses are not what they see.
Here we go.
RJ the Gun Barrett, man.
Here we go.
He came back last night. This weekend, 5 of 17. The gun has come back to New York, man.
Yeah, it jammed.
It jammed. It was firing good.
It jammed, man. It jammed.
That's it, bro. 5 of 17, man.
Listen. The problem is the Knicks aren't really a good shooting team.
And that's the thing.
They're not,
and that's been their issue.
Kobe, Gigi, my bad.
I hate that nickname for him though. But no. The Knicks shooting woes have come to light again.
And Brunson, I mean, like you said, Brunson's been their go-to scorer, and he's not hitting anything from beyond the arc.
The Knicks are a typical Tibbs team, wherever he's been as a coach.
I'll give you that.
They've always been ISO heavy. They don't run full sets. It's ISO heavy in defense. He thinks it's 1999 instead of 2023 playing basketball.
Very hard-headed as well. Doesn't like to change up a lot of his game plan.
He doesn't. And you can go back and put in a tape of the Bulls. You can put in a tape of the Wolves. You're watching the same thing with the Knicks right now. Like, it's how he keeps getting jobs. I don't know. Honestly.
I mean, it had a great regular season with the Knicks this year. I thought they looked good.
Regular season doesn't win championships.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Yeah, but I'm with you there.
And he's going to end up burning out his players, and it's not going to be hurt again. And then we had the same Tibbs story. But
quickly a little banged up now, too.
But that's what I'm saying. The thing is with Tibbs, like, the offense, it's always ISO heavy.
He burns his guys.
He burns his guys. I mean, think about everywhere he's coached. Who was the star player? And what kind of sets did they run? Go to Chicago. You had D Rose, you had a young Jimmy, ISO heavy. Timberwolves, you had Butler there again too. Then you had Towns ISO, and no one else. This is what they do. This is what he does as a coach. And this whole defense guru, no, that was in Boston when he had smart IQ players. He's living off reputation still too. They shouldn't have.
You look at some of these Knicks shooting percentages for the playoffs so far from beyond the arc. Brunson shooting 28% from three. R.J. Barrett 30%. Josh Hart leads the team at 36%, and it's not really close. Randall 22%. Quickly 24%. Obi 32%. So the three ball, like we said, not falling. It's hard to win series in the playoffs.
Shooting threes? Yeah,
that's right. He is, and again, he hasn't been the worst shooter on the team, which is incredible.
But that's recipe for disaster.
He's giving them some decent minutes. He got to start for when Randall was out. But yeah, it's just not looking good for the Knicks.
Free Derrick Rose, man. Why is he not playing? Free Derrick Rose, man. Free D Rose, man. He can get some good minutes, man. Free D Rose.
We'll see if Brunson and Randall can snap out of it tonight. Again, I would have more faith with them if they were at home at MSG, but Game 2 in Miami.
They are in Miami.
For the back-to-back games. So we'll see how they do. Miami, as Jason said, typically undefeated. So we'll see how they go tonight. We're all going with the Heat. You guys taking the points? Are you giving them 4.5 or what? What do you think?
All right, I'll take them.
Heat minus 4.5? You like the Heat give them 4.5?
Yep.
Across the board. We'll see if that hits. If we all three agree on it, usually it does. We'll have to see if what Dennis thinks about that here in a little bit. But we're rolling. We're going on great time. So we have some time to spend here on the Warriors-Lakers. They're going to be back in L.A. for Game 4 tonight. And historically, the Warriors haven't played great at Staples Now Cryptocurrency Arena in the past. They lose, obviously, Game 3, a blowout victory for the Lakers. They now lead the series 2-1. Let's just talk about our initial reactions to what we've seen so far in the series. Jason, I know you had the Lakers-Celtics as your NBA Finals matchup. Lakers are looking pretty good so far, even with LeBron kind of not being the guy that we're used to seeing game takeover-wise, just kind of going through the motions, doing what he has to do to get them those wins. Anthony Davis, a couple big games. What have you seen from the Lakers so far?
LeBron's doing what we needed him to do as far as from a Lakers standpoint. AD is supposed to be the guy. And LeBron's supposed to be second fiddle. This is what they wanted, and it's happening now. And that's the scary part. This is what Lakers wanted for the past 3 years, is for AD to step up and become the guy, and LeBron is still there as well, so you can't really play off of either one. And now you have better shooters with better defense, which is why I picked the Lakers in this series and to go to the finals before the series even started.
For the playoffs started.
For the playoffs, yeah. So I'm seeing that now because of the fact that how hungry they were to get in. And you're talking about the Warriors playing at crypto. Warriors couldn't play a road game, whether at a YMCA gym. Like, they suck on the road, period.
And that's what I thought. I thought that would change, honestly, guys, with the 2 wins in Sacramento. Like, when you get 2 playoff wins in a series, that's big time. And, that was the team that historically had gone back. You go back to years past, they're one of the only teams that have won a road game in every series, however many years going back. So they took 2 in Sacramento. I thought maybe we'd see some change here, but not a good start for them in L.A.
They play the road team. Matt, I'll let you,
Yeah, I hate what I'm seeing from the Warriors. I think it's a multitude of things. First of all, Jordan Poole is hellacious out there.
Let me ask you this, Matt. Is he become, I know it's crazy to say, he's just signed a big contract. Almost, in my opinion, I wouldn't say unplayable, but he's looking, if you look at the stats here, he's been absolutely horrible. 28% from 3, which is what he's, what you need him to do. 35% from the floor. Every time I see him, he's putting up something crazy or having it blocked from behind off the backboard.
I blame Ice Spice. He paid $5,000 for that.
I was just about to say, that's because he's a munch.
That's why. I blame Ice Spice.
Drop a half a rack on that joint. Come on, man.
I blame Ice Spice for this, man. It's the new Kardashian effect.
Jordan Poole.
You see what happens going on with Devin Booker now, right? Oh, my goodness.
Jordan Poole got to go get himself an ugly girl, and he'll be back to being Jordan Poole again. Right now, he's feeling himself too much.
Oh, my God.
Win or lose, he's winning. He got to go back to get an ugly joint.
You're right.
Go back, get the ugly joint from high school, bro. Bring it back. Get back to that hunger that you were, bro, because this Ice Spice got you out here with your nostrils open, bro. You don't even care. You just shooting and just.
Yeah, it looks almost like he's just.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy to watch. Oh my God. Last year he hit some big shots, but he's been just absolutely dreadful.
But to your point, you mentioned it before we got to this in depth, the JaMychal Green addition to the starting lineup. He can shoot threes.
Worked in game 3.
He can shoot, period.
Worked in game 2.
So here's the thing. On offense, it works. But like I told you, nobody in the NBA can guard AD and LeBron straight up. It's probably one team that probably can, but it won't last for the whole game. And the Warriors definitely can't guard both of them straight up. Because if you put Draymond on, okay, you put Draymond on AD, LeBron goes off. You put Draymond on LeBron, AD goes off. Looney is only there for rebounding. He doesn't guard anybody.
Physical body, but yeah, he's not defensive player of the year candidate.
He's not going to shuffle his feet too much, you know.
Oh,
He's
no,
not gonna do
yeah.
that. But honestly, I think the real issue with the Warriors in this series is people forget the Lakers are younger on the perimeter. I think you're seeing that right now. I think they can throw bodies and bodies and bodies at the guards. They can throw bodies at Steph and Clay. And you're seeing that right now.
And again, the whole thing here, too, goes back to Rob Pelinka at the trade deadline. I mean, this team was dead in the water with Patrick Beverley and Russell Westbrook. I mean, this team was a 13 seed in the, a couple weeks before the playoffs. They were in no, they were going nowhere quickly. And then Rob Pelinka somehow pulls a rabbit out of the hat here, gives up one first-round pick. And again, the real villain here is Minnesota, in my opinion, for giving them, all these guys and allowing them to be this team that's now seems to be meshing pretty well. I think they've looked really good. You talk about the roster additions have been great. They're impressing me so far, Matt. What do you see out of the Lakers?
Well, shout out to Clutch Sports because they basically run the Lakers. The thing about JaMychal Green that I think he does better, but he still doesn't do it to the level of what they used to have, which is when Bogut was with him. Because he's not a very good screener.
Yeah.
Neither him or Looney are very good screeners. And honestly, I think the Warriors are frustrated with Looney at this point. They know he's never going to be the guy that they thought he was coming out of UCLA. And it's really interesting, too, because if you watch Looney in high school.
And in college, he was.
He could shoot, he could dribble.
Everything, man.
He had everything.
A lot of injuries. I mean, you're right. That's not, you don't lose skill due to injuries, so I can't say that. But to me, he always looks like he's powering through something out there. Like he's struggling.
Lumbering,
There's something going on, at least when I'm seeing him play.
I don't know. It's just he's not the same guy I think they thought he would get, and I think that's why JaMychal Green's been stealing his minutes.
And again, I watched the Warriors in the regular season, Jason. I didn't see him at all, JaMychal Green, during the regular season.
I'm going to step further. Do they miss Wiseman in this particular series?
I think they would miss him.
Because Wiseman is a guy
I think he'd be getting minutes.
Because Wiseman is a guy who could guard AD straight up, but also give him some on offense too. People forget Wiseman has a touch around that rim there. Yeah. So I think the Wiseman trade is affecting them right now in this series. I really do.
Now, also in LA, they're starting to call AD alternate days because obviously one game he's there, the next game he's nowhere to be found. We saw that in Game 1, had one of a historical performance in that Game 1 win in the game after that, and nowhere to be go. He's great off a couple days rest, but when the games start getting narrower in time, he sometimes tends to disappear. What do you think he's going to do tonight?
Would you rather call him alternate days or street clothes?
Oh, alternate days. That's an upgrade.
So it's an upgrade. So
that's an upgrade.
Look, you're doing something right, my guy. You change your narrative about you this playoff run.
So Dave is coming off a 25-13 game on Friday or Saturday, I should say. So we'll see what he can do. We'll see if alternate day shows up or if he has a big game. Because if he has a big game, I think the Lakers win at home, and I think the series is over.
I'm going to talk about something in this series that's really
But I'm
interesting.
sticking with the Warriors in 7. That's my prediction.
Did you guys know about the ticket prices for those courtside seats?
About cryptocurrency?
$90,000 for a courtside seat.
At crypto
At
tonight?
crypto.
Man.
$90,000 for a courtside seat.
You think Shannon Sharp going to be there tonight?
Oh, Uncle Shay, listen. See, he got comp tickets, though. He ain't paying that.
Yeah, he's not.
But that 70 row at the Lakers game, I'll play this. I'm happy to see the Blue Bloods of the NBA in the playoffs and seeing 70 row at MSG and in LA. I'm not calling the C word, not doing that. It's LA, Lakers. It's good to see. So you're getting some hype right now, some momentum going, some attraction back to the NBA. So it's good for everybody to see.
I hate that it's not Staples Center anymore. I mean, I'm not even a Lakers fan or anything like that, but the fact that it's not the Staples Center.
Hell, Lakers fans have been mad since they left the Great Western Forum. That's another story.
That's a whole fact.
Same thing, too, though. Steelers losing no Heinz Field anymore. I think that's a travesty as well. Acrisure Stadium. So there you have it. Guys, keys. Who's your keys, and are you changing your picks tonight? It's the Lakers -2.5. Who are you going with in tonight's game, and who do you got for the series? And maybe if you have one, what's your key to the rest of the series?
I'm going to Warriors, still in 7. I think they'll figure something out. And honestly, I'm not confident with AD playing at a high level all the games.
So alternate day shows up tonight.
I think so.
Jason, what about you? What do you think?
I'm gonna stick with my Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6. Yeah. So Celtics in 6, Lakers in 6. You going Phoenix in 7 now? All right. There you have it. And then Heat in what, 5?
No,
They get one at MSG? You're saying they get one more at MSG?
It'll probably be 6.
It'll probably be 6. So 6 the magic number.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Warriors again. I'm with Matt here. I'm going to stick with the Warriors in 7. I had the Warriors making the NBA Finals again this year.
Oh, that's a bold pick there.
I picked them last year. It worked out for me. They ended up holding up the trophy at the end of the year. So I'm going to roll with them again this year. We've got some pretty good championship predictions on this show here for a lot of different sports. So make sure you stick with us.
I got to keep my streak, man.
That's right.
I will say this. I do think we're watching the end of an era with both these teams.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Lakers, maybe they could pump one more year where they still have guys at level, and I think the Warriors.
I think this is the last year.
Yeah,
Could be, especially for Draymond, right? Coming up on a contract extension.
Not just Draymond, but even Clay.
Yeah, Clay.
I think they may
that guy no
re-sign
more.
Clay, though. I think they would
I
just
don't
for
think
the fact.
I don't think
You think
Clay is going to take that re-sign.
Well, yeah, right. Depends on the money because he's going to want his money,
He's going to want his money.
and the Warriors aren't going to want to give him the money he wants. You're right. That's going to be for sure. Eager to see how
And
that
they
goes.
already invested in Jordan Poole. Eventually, he's
Oh
gonna
my
take-
God!
Yeah,
How are you looking at that contract now? I mean, it's no Ben Simmons contract, but you
Yeah,
never
I
know. I
think-
mean, it's still early to tell, but
I think the Warriors rebuild around, as crazy as it's going to sound coming out of my mouth, I think they rebuild around Jordan Poole and Wiggins.
Yeah, I can see that.
oh man, that team's a 5 seed. Or at the, I mean, that
Hell,
seems like
they were a 6 this year. What difference does it make?
well, they do the old LeBron regular season stuff this year. Dealt with some injuries. So there, Warriors Lakers again tonight. You guys taking Lakers minus 2.5. How do you feel about that tonight?
I'll take that. Lakers by 3.
Lakers,
We're going Warriors by 6.
Warriors by 6. Give me the Warriors by double digits. They show back up tonight. Steph and Clay heating it up. 2-2. They're going back to the Bay with some momentum.
Yeah.
It's going back to the Bay. Steph, don't let me down, Steph. Don't let me down, Steph. All right, guys, before we close out tonight, the all-rookie teams announced just a few hours ago before we got here to the set. First team, as always, your Rookie of the Year, Paolo Banchero, who we all, I think, were unanimous in having him as our #1 pick last year in the draft show. Jabari Smith, again, was, as you see the visual on your screen, Jabari Smith with the odds-on favorite. We all liked Banchero's. Obviously, so did the Magic, and it worked out for them. A heck of a season for Paolo here. Here's your Rookie of the Year, and it rounds out with Keegan Murray from the Kings, Benedict Mathurin from the Pacers, Walker Kessler from the Utah Jazz, who they ended up getting for Gobert, who had a great first year as a rookie, and then Jalen Williams, J-Will, big year for the Thunder there on first team. Guys, first team reactions here.
I'm not as high on Walker Kessler as everybody is.
He finished third in
love
Rookie
Walker
of
Kessler.
the Year voting.
I'm just me. It's just me. I'm not.
So that's the thing,
I
though,
don't know
right?
why, though.
I thought he was underdrafted. That's what I thought.
I don't know why, but I'm just not.
Was he 2021?
I'm just not. I know he good game, but to me, I gotta watch more next year.
Yeah.
But something to me just hasn't clicked with him.
And now while we're on that subject of Walker Kessler here, so the Timberwolves give up 5 first-round picks, and that 6th was Kessler basically, because he was a first-round pick. They traded him as soon as they got his draft rights, or they traded draft rights to them. Man, I'll tell you, what do you guys think if you're Minnesota giving up that? Would you rather have Walker Kessler maybe now over Rudy Gobert at this moment in
They have
time?
a whole roster over that Rudy Gobert trade. That's the worst. That's the worst trade in professional sports since the Herschel Walker deal.
Shout out Danny Ainge.
Oh,
He does it everywhere he goes,
Ainge,
man.
I mean, Celtics are benefiting from Danny Ainge.
Tatum should be a 76er.
should
That's
be.
We could have a whole nother discussion.
it should have
But
been,
I'll tell you, my boy Jalen Williams, I loved him. I had him real high on my big board. Great to see him there. Matt,
that.
anything
Love
else
that.
stand out to you guys about first team?
First team, no, I agree with everybody that's on first team.
It's
Yeah.
solid. It's solid.
All right, let's go to the second team. Delaware native Jalen Duren coming in there at the second team. All good to see him there.
Trained by 3&D Sports. Shout out
Shout out.
to my guy LaBelle Kosh.
Eason from the Rockets and LSU. Jaden Ivey, the guard from Purdue with the Pistons. So 2 Pistons here on the second team. Jabari Smith had a good second half of the season for him. Matt, he gets into the second team. And then my boy Jeremy Sochance, who I liked from Baylor.
That's been your guy for a while, man.
But I'll tell you, man, he gives me Dennis Rodman vibes. Great to see him on the second team. Guys, your reaction to second team. Matt, I know you had an initial reaction on Jabari Smith making that second team.
Yeah, I don't agree with Jabari Smith on this team. I think all season he was pretty bad. wildly inconsistent. Really didn't.
He could disappear out there.
He disappeared. I mean, for a guy being the third pick, he just was very underwhelming.
And again, was the Vegas odds-on pick to be the number 1 pick.
Give me Mark Williams from Duke. I think
love Mark Williams,
yeah, I think he's really good.
Heck, I put the other Jalen Williams on the second team.
2 J. Wills, there you go.
Over Jabari. I mean, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm with Matt on this. Jabari Smith on the second team. I don't like it.
So let me ask you this now, guys. You're looking at first and second team. If you had to pick one guy to start your team with going forward, besides Paolo Banchero, who are you guys going with out of these lists of first and second team?
Mathurin.
I'm gonna go with Benedict Mathurin.
Mathurin, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a hands down.
That would have been my pick. I'm going to go for the sake of argument here. Give me Jalen Williams. I thought Keegan Murray looked good in some of those games with the Kings as a rookie. I thought he had some big moments there. You know, in a rookie playing in his first playoff series, in a playoff that was huge in Sacramento for the first time in so many years. But I think a lot of that first team should have bright futures.
Listen, Keegan Murray is not a forward in this league. He's going to be a big 2 guard, and he's giving me He's giving me Allen Houston vibes right now.
Three ball looks good this year.
But he's giving me Allen Houston vibes. It just fits. Like he
sits pretty and throws it up, man.
Yeah. He gives me Allen Houston vibes, man. He's not gonna play the 4 too much longer in this league.
No. Yeah, we'll see how the Kings look. Matt, who do you got? Who you starting your team with going forward?
I'd be Benedict Mathurin. I
don't
think there's anybody else. Yeah.
Yep, I'm with you guys there. Anything else before we head out here on a Monday evening? 2 big games coming up tonight. Knicks and Heat starting in just a few minutes on TNT, followed by the Warriors and the Lakers. Guys, closing words for today as we head forward. Should be a fantastic NBA playoffs as we continue. We'll be back here next Monday, but a lot can happen in between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if you're, like me, you're a draft Nick. You have the G League invite camp that's coming up soon. I think the underclassmen have till, I want to say it's May 30th to go back to school or stay in the draft. So that's something to keep an eye out for, and enjoy the pre-draft camp. I think that will coming up soon. So, 2 weeks out.
Yeah, we'll be highlighting players, each and every week, getting prepared for the NBA draft coming up here in a few months. Jason,
I'm with Matt on the pre-draft camps coming up. Now the NBA making them mandatory for the most part.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We can see the cream of the crop competing each other a lot more often. It gives you a throwback to the ABCD camp and Nike camp days in the 90s.
So that's a good call.
So I'm liking what's going to see with that. But by the time we come back here next week, we'll be in the semis. So
it's going to be a big week.
So
we're going to have a lot to talk about on Monday. Yeah. Also, before we go out of here, the Washington Commanders. If you heard Jim Irsay upset with the Commanders, they think that they're trying to get Andrew Luck to come out of retirement. They've been trying to talk with Andrew Luck behind the scenes a little bit, so we'll see.
Didn't they try to approach the Chiefs for Pat Mahomes too?
Yes, they did.
I don't know what these guys are smoking. They're smoking some good stuff, man.
That's right. They're not the mid-performance.
I don't know what strain. I don't know what strain they're smoking on, but dog.
That'll do it for us here on DETV. Nick, Jason, and Matt, Dennis behind the glass. We will see you next Monday. Enjoy some playoff basketball.